Eyewitness News.
Sentenced to 24 years in prison for his role in the murders of 3 Afghans.
And we are getting statements of remorse from that soldier.
A judge sentenced Specialist Jeremy Morlock for conspiring with other soldiers in the thrill killings that provoked outrage around the world. Cairo 7's Graham Johnson is live at Joint Base Lewis McChord with what Morlock told a judge today. Graham?
Steve, he apologized and admitted the plan was to kill people. After a military judge sentenced 22-year-old Specialist Jeremy Morlock to 24 years in prison, his lawyer stepped before the cameras.
First, to the families of the victims and the people of Afghanistan, he apologizes for his actions and the pain he has caused.
Morlock delivered the same message during his court-martial. He pleaded guilty to several charges, including murder for the deaths of 3 unarmed civilians in Afghanistan. Morlock says he conspired with other soldiers to shoot people and throw grenades at them. In a videotaped confession, Morlock said Staff Sergeant Calvin Gibbs was the ringleader.
He pulled out one of his grenades, American grenade, popped it, throws the grenade, and then, tells me, whacks this guy, kill this guy, kill this guy.
Days ago, a German newspaper published this photo, which we've blurred, of Morlock posing with a dead civilian. In court, Morlock said the soldiers placed weapons near the bodies to make it look like the civilians had attacked them. The judge asked Morlock, "Were you going to shoot at people to scare them and it got out of hand?" Morlock replied, "The plan was to kill them." The charges against Morlock would normally bring a life sentence, but a plea deal means he'll serve less time in exchange for testifying against at least 4 fellow soldiers. Jeremy Morlock's attorney tells us he'll be eligible for parole in about 7 years. Live at Joint Base Lewis McChord, Graham Johnson, Cairo 7 Eyewitness News.
In a case that has rocked the U.S. military, a soldier from Joint Base Lewis McChord accepted his punishment today for killing 3 unarmed civilians in Afghanistan. Specialist Jeremy Morlock of the 5th Stryker Brigade is one of 5 soldiers to be court-martialed in the killings of 3 Afghans. As John Hopperstad reports, as part of his plea deal, he'll now testify against his fellow soldiers.
As a soldier, Jeremy Morlock had a duty to protect civilians in Afghanistan. Instead, he hunted them. In pleading guilty to 3 premeditated murders, Morlock told the judge the plan was to kill people. He explained how he and other members of his unit would target Afghans using guns and even grenades to kill them. Soldiers would then plant a weapon next to the body to make it look like self-defense. Morlock also told the judge that it was his squad leader, Sergeant Calvin Gibbs, who was the ringleader in all of this, who thought up the attacks and instigated them.
His mistake was going along with Sergeant Gibbs. I firmly believe, based on everything I've learned about Jeremy Morlock, that if Sergeant Gibbs had never come into his world, I wouldn't be standing before you today. I don't believe that Jeremy Morlock would have committed this type of crime.
Family and friends also said they were shocked to learn Morlock took part in the killings. Some of his former teachers and coaches testified he was a kind kid while growing up in Alaska. Morlock's mother, in tears, told the judge, "We know he went to war for a reason. We don't know what happened." Jeremy Morlock told the judge he also wasn't sure what led him to commit murder, saying, "I'm trying to figure out how I lost my moral compass." The 22-year-old was spared a life sentence and given 24 years in prison as part of a plea agreement. He'll now be a witness in the court-martials of several soldiers in his unit, including 4 others who face murder charges.
He has admitted his responsibility. He is taking responsibility for what he did. And while no one takes pleasure in testifying against someone else, at the same time, he is going to testify truthfully.
At Joint Base Lewis McChord, John Hopperstad, Q13, Fox News.